welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we're going to be doing one of our episodes for the time I'm off. And today we're talking, I'm sure as you know already, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And let me just say in the beginning of this, why did I wait so long to watch this masterpiece? This show is incredible. It is incredible. It's a great show, and I am so excited for season 2. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still finishing up episode 6, but I'm getting there. And y'all guys, it's just great. It's just great. But let's get into it. So, episode 1, we start off learning about Mom Talk. Mom Talk was basically these young Mormon wives, mothers, kind of just wanting to do something for themselves, do something to kind of just have fun. So they were doing, the things you do on TikTok, dancing and writing out routines and all the whole bit. And we're kind of learning about Mom Talk from, in particular, Taylor, who I really like. I actually really like Taylor. There's really no one I dislike except for Whitney. But I really like Taylor. But anyways, we kind of learning a lot about this from Taylor. She's kind of maybe the person who maybe, I don't want to use the term started it, but at least launched it into the universe, kind of. And she tells us that not only that, okay, not only Mom Talk, we talk about the biggest part of it, and that is the quote unquote soft swinging. She claims that she's soft swinging with someone's husband, and she claims the entire Mom Talk group is doing it with each other, and then one's with one person's husband, and the other is with one's wife, and it's messy. It's messy. And Taylor is the one who exposed all of this. And obviously you kind of take the fall, especially being Mormon, being in the church. Clearly, this isn't something you should be doing. So Taylor, we kind of learn a little bit about her. We do kind of learn a little bit about each of them. Of course, in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know who's who, because they all look alike. Seriously, Macy and is it Michaela or Masalton? Anyways, they look the same. Okay. Jen Affleck looks like Taylor. They all look the same. Okay. But anyways, Taylor tells us that she got married young. She got kind of pressured by her mom to do so. We're going to learn a lot about Leanne. And the reason she got pressured kind of is because her mom found out that she was having premarital sex with her now ex-husband. Here's my thing. What are the chances that Mama Leanne also never did premarital sex? I'm just saying. Okay. Anyway, we meet Macy, who has been married now for about 5 years to Jacob, who is hot. Jacob is hot. I didn't really notice Jacob until this most recent episode, with episode 6 that I've seen. And I was like, Jacob was hot. A couple of these men are. Jacob was one of the men. We're going to get to some later. Okay. They have 2 kids together. And she kind of says that he never really initiates sex, which kind of makes her obviously feel a certain way. She doesn't always want to be the one to initiate sex. I hear that. So then we start kind of hearing about Dakota, who is Taylor's new boyfriend. The ink on her divorce papers have barely dried, and she has a new boyfriend. But they got into an argument that's going to be a running theme throughout these episodes because of her drinking. Here's the thing though, y'all. She's drinking a lot, which, by the way, if anyone is aware of the rules of being Mormon, you're not supposed to drink alcohol, you're not supposed to drink coffee For example, so clearly Taylor is kind of doing her, which is fine. I don't care. But I'm just trying to say, like, oh, but here's the other thing. We do learn, I don't think I talk about it yet here, but we do learn with Dakota that he's a recovering addict. Yikes. I don't know, Taylor. Maybe we shouldn't be drinking around the newly sober addicts. I'm just, yeah. So we kind of find out that there's this drama within their dynamic of their relationship. They don't trust each other because they posted on TikTok together, I guess kind of launching their relationship. And a woman on Reddit told her that that's weird. I mean, he was just with my roommate last weekend. Oh shit. So I think the timeline is going to be a little murky right now in the beginning parts of the episodes, but I think we get a little bit more details on Dakota and maybe his choices. So this is kind of where we find out that again, the ink has barely dried on her divorce papers because she has only been separated for 3 months. Y'all, and divorced for a month. How quickly do we get divorces? What? I mean, maybe my divorce would have been a lot easier, a lot quicker if he was still in the country, but there were no kids involved, and it still took a year. More than a year if I think about it. But uh, and she already has a boyfriend, y'all. She already has a boyfriend. I think I don't want to diagnose or put my things out there. This is a podcast and it's fine, so I will. Does Taylor have issues saying on her own here? I think so. I really do. You should be able to just sit in your shit for just a little bit. Be focus on your kids right now because obviously their worlds are being uplifted, not uplifted, definitely not uplifted. It's gone to shit because their parents are divorcing, so it's the life they knew is no longer. And you're gonna go have a next man just like that. Anyway, then we hear about this woman named Whitney. And Whitney apparently moved out of Utah and went to go live in Hawaii. She's coming back now to Utah. But the running theme as to why maybe Whitney left is it seemed coincidental that she dipped out of Utah, went to Hawaii right around the swinging scandal with Mom Talk. I want more information on that. Do we get more information on that? I don't know. But like, I kind of want something definitive. And I don't think we ever get that, especially with Whitney. But Whitney is a little pissed about Taylor's little confession about the swinging. So this is where we learn a little bit about Leanne, who is Taylor's mom. She's there to go see her mom. And she mentions that when she posted on TikTok about her and Dakota being official, her mother commented on the post saying, well, Taylor, as your mother, let your divorce settle. Take time and heal and focus on you and them kids. Now, do I have a problem with what she said in hindsight? No, because I think it's true. But you go and you post it on TikTok for the whole world to see, and she has a following. That is some underhanded shit. Her mom is a piece of work. That's all I gotta say. Um, so they sit down, and she gets on her about the kids should be spending more time with you because she may be someone's grandma, but she don't want to babysit them kids. She's like, nah, girl, these are your kids. You take care of them kids. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I was just brought up a little different. But my grandma, I was with my grandma all the time, especially because my mom was a young mom, so it was whatever. But anyways, she's like, there are a lot. And I mean, Leanne looks great, and she looks, I don't know how old her mom is, but she's like, I don't got a pep in the step no more, and there are a lot of, there are a lot. Come get your kids. Anyway, she says to her daughter, y'all, her daughter, she says, I don't think you're a bad person or anything. Like, I think you're not bad. But, like, you made bad mistakes that make you look bad. Holy shit. Again, her mother. I don't know what I would say if my mom said that to me. You've made mistakes that just make you look bad. Is that any different? And anyway, he says, have they gone to the church, talked to the church about everything? And she's like, no. I guess she's kind of worried whether or not they will excommunicate her for her decisions. But she does say, or her mom says to her, well, if they excommunicate you, I mean, what do you expect when you're self swinging? Yo. Jesus. Jesus ain't forgiven in the LDS church, is he? Shit. Anyway, we go back to the ladies for a minute and the some of the mom talkers here, and we're kind of talking about again the swinging, and spelled Demi, like Demi Lovato, but we don't say Demi on this podcast. We're gonna say Demi. What? What? Demi? I like her, don't get me wrong, I have nothing against her. Demi? Demi Moore. Really? Anyway, Demi says she didn't pick up on anything necessarily because she was at them parties where the swinging apparently was happening. She said her husband was there as well, who is really, really, he's the hottest one in the group. He can get it. More on that in a minute. But yeah, he was there too. But she did say that some things were a little weird because apparently the husbands were asking him some weird questions. Like, are you the jealous type? And he said, by the way, his name is Brett. He said, well, I don't share if that's what you mean. That's a non-answer. I said that part. That's a non-answer. Why? What made him think to say that? Really and truly, what made him think to say, I don't share if that's what you're asking? Unless y'all were seeing something. You know what I mean? That something, some shit was afoot. Maybe Demi didn't see nothing, but someone saw something. That's all I'm saying. That's a really odd answer. But anyways, we learn more about Demi and her husband. They have been married for 3 years. She's 29 and he is 46. He's hot. Anyway, but Demi tells this story about how Taylor apparently flirted hard ass, I guess, with Brett. And I said, honey, have you seen him? I'd flirt too, innocently. But again, I'm not your friend. If my friend was flirting with my man, I'd have problems too. Absolutely. Um, she apparently, Taylor, kissed Demi on the head and then Brett, I guess, on the head as well. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But then she also then proceeded to whisper sweet nothings or something in his ear, and she laughed, and then he laughed, and then that pissed me off, and he apparently was blackout drunk though, because sure, I, something happened on the way to heaven. That's all I'm gonna say. Back to Taylor and Leanne though. She says, I don't know how you choose these guys like Dakota, Taylor. Like, I just don't get how you choose these people. And she's like, well, what's wrong with him? And this is where we find out, well, he has an addiction. Now, that's not fair. That's kind of shitty for you to take something that is a disease and basically say, well, he's not good enough because he is an addict. Okay. Okay. But this is, yeah, we find out he's a recovering addict. He almost OD'd on fentanyl. Oh man. Yikes. Okay. But then Taylor decides to drop a bomb because why not? And says, well, you know, I don't know how to tell you this, but I have to do a pregnancy test tonight. And her mom is like, without a hop, beat, or skip, literally says, oh, you are so stupid. Shit. Let me just preface, at this point, Taylor's about 28, 27, 28. Married before, has 2 kids, but she's stupid. Now, would I be getting potentially pregnant for a man that I've only been with for, I don't know, a minute? No, but god damn it. Where her mom said, you're stupid. I'm like, shit. Shit, that's harsh. Really, because clearly she's coming to you for support and you say, you're stupid bitch and getting pregnant for this addict. You know what I mean? Oh, anyway, she says, you're always screwing things up. And I'm like, oh my God. You know she's heard shit like this her entire life. Like, this is horrible. But yeah, says you're always screwing things up. I am so sick of you. I don't even want to talk to you. And mom legit gets up and walks away and leaves Taylor there. And I think honestly, this reaction from her mom is going to be part of what we see in just a little bit with Taylor and Dakota. So we talk Whitney, and apparently someone saw her husband on Tinder. Now, we haven't met Connor quite yet, but y'all, as a straight woman, cis woman, I have eyes, and are we sure it was Tinder? Because I don't know, man. Are we sure? I want to see the app. I really do. Like, is Tinder like the equivalent of like a beard? Is it his beard app or something? Because listen, I don't know, man. So then we meet Connor's husband, and I'm like, huh. Was literally what I was like, huh, okay, all right. So we meet Michaela, spelled Makayla. And I said, what is happening in Utah with the spelling of people's names? Some of the names, like, Aspen with a Y and Isabel with a Y. Christine likes Y's, huh? McKelty with a Y. Truly, she likes Y's. I've just come. Why? Anyway, yes, we have Michaela. She's been married for, check it, 6 years. Okay. Jace was 21 when she got pregnant. At 16, let me repeat, her now husband, named Jace, was 21 when Michaela got pregnant at 16. Where are the cops? Because I think we call that statutory rape where I come from. What in the fuck were her parents? And then we say, instead of calling, excuse me, Popo, my daughter is impregnated with an adult's child. Can we get the police over here to take him to jail? No. Instead, we say, hey, officiant, you want to marry my 16-year-old daughter who just got impregnated by a 21-year-old? Okay. She has a skin condition that hasn't been really explained, and I really felt for her in this when she's talking about it. You can tell it's kind of really debilitating for her, and I felt for her. I really did. It sucks. So Whitney, Michaela, and Taylor are meeting up, and Whitney asks, "So, Taylor, why'd you post that video?" And Taylor says, "Well, people say I ruined their lives, but make jokes too." She's like, "I brought everyone into mom talk and I just got kicked out of it." Well, when you expose people for the swinging, I guess people are like, let's drop kick you out of the mom talk. So Whitney sits with Connor, her husband, and says, "I don't want to hide this anymore. I don't have to keep the secret anymore." And that secret meaning Connor was on apps. So that's what we kind of have, like Whitney on one side, and we also have like this family meeting thing situation. I think Whitney was there too. And she kind of says, "Well, ladies, Connor was on Tinder, and he has a porn addiction to straight porn. Seriously, seriously, you want me to think this man was on Tinder? And you want me to think that, what kind of porn? Show me the porn history. I want to see it." And again, I don't care. I just want him to live his best life and to live his truth. That's all. Like, seriously. Apparently, he has been talking to women, I think, sending nudes for the entire time that they have, I guess, been together or been married. I'm not sure about that part, but yep, he's just showing his dong around to all the women of this here United States of America. So, yep. So Taylor thinks that her boyfriend looks like Jake Gyllenhaal, and I say, "Girl, are you fucking blind? Jake Gyllenhaal, he will not be. He doesn't look like Jake Gyllenhaal. He doesn't. No, he doesn't. He really doesn't. He doesn't want her to drink because obviously, with his sobriety, they kind of need to be sober, right?" But she says, "Don't worry, y'all. She's getting fucked up tonight." She literally says that on the way out of the restaurant. She said, "I'm gonna get fucked up tonight." And I'm like, wait a minute, girl, honey, didn't you say you have to do like a pregnancy test? Don't you think maybe you should do that pregnancy test before you go get fucked up? And not only that, should you really be getting all fucked up when your boyfriend is supposed to be sober? All you're gonna do is trigger him to drink. Choices. Then we hear a 911 call. A neighbor of Taylor's apparently called reporting possible DV, and it's about Taylor here. The person was basically saying how she could hear someone yelling, get off me," which is very scary. We do see Taylor with body cam from the police. She's very drunk. She says, he is too. He says he's not, that he's sober. And with the descriptions of kind of everything, she kind of seems like it was her that's to be the aggressor in the situation. And she is the one that gets arrested for DV. And that is where episode 1 ends. Let's go into episode 2. 11 months after the arrest, that's where we're at. She was charged with aggravated assault and got 3 years probation. There's no prison time. She was pregnant, but unfortunately, trigger warning for pregnancy loss. She did miscarry. So that's, I again, can't even imagine. Never want to imagine, but wow. But she's pregnant, y'all. She is pregnant currently. Taylor tells her mom that Dakota has been talking a lot about getting married, obviously with her now being pregnant. I think he wants to kind of quote unquote rectify the situation, not bring a child into the world out of wedlock. So he kind of wants to correct that and get married. She says she's not ready though to make that step with him. I think there's a lot of different factors into why she maybe isn't ready. I think we do learn a lot more about what part of that reason is, but I think she doesn't trust him. There has been some question of infidelity, but I also think that maybe she's not ready to be committed to someone new after her. Like the papers have just dried up a year later, you know what I mean? Like she just recently got out of a marriage and she has these 2 kids. It's it's just I don't know if it's a good idea to jump into something else. I do wonder if that's part of the reason for her. But she's just crying. She's I think this is a lot for her. So we see the women, and they're like, we're the breadwinners of our families because our men don't do shit. And we're the one that's getting the brand deals with mom talk and everything. So we're going to actually be talking about a brand deal very soon. So the ladies have been getting those deal brands, that's what I've just kind of talked about. And they also talk about Taylor's arrest as well. Obviously. Whitney, since we're on the brand of brand deals here, she got a $20,000 deal to promote sex toys. I see no problem personally, but that's me. As we kind of know, and I think we kind of can I think this is I think it's at I think a different level with the LDS church, but I think there are a lot of religions that we just do not talk about sex. It's taboo. We don't talk about it, whatever. It's kind of like we don't talk about Bruno, except we don't talk about sex. So obviously with that, there's not a lot of discussion even within families about sex. And Layla, who I think is our youngest woman here at 22, she says that she's never experienced an orgasm. I was like, but here's the thing. I don't know. I mean, every woman is different. Every woman's body is different in how they experience sex. But I think at 22, or maybe just about 22, was maybe around the time that I experienced an orgasm during sex. That was with my ex. And I think that's the first time I really experienced bliss in a sense. So I think, you know, with that, she still has a lot of time to figure it out. But she is newly divorced. We're going to talk a little more about that, I think, in a minute. And she could explore with some of these sex toys. I mean, I think there is enough vibrators for everyone to get one. Anyway, yeah, so Layla, being a woman of color, she's biracial. She also sticks out in the church as well, which I think we definitely have seen for anyone who's watched um, Love After Lockup or Life After Lockup, who have seen, I cannot remember their names right now, Lamar and what was her name? I cannot remember her name, but I remember she was Mormon, Black. This is something you don't see a lot, and she talked about her experiences as well in the church as a Black woman. I think there's a whole history of that I don't want to go down at the moment, but it's I definitely understand what she's kind of saying here. Then we meet Jen Affleck, the first Jen Affleck. She needs to point that part out. Her cousin, her second cousin, is none other than Ben Affleck himself. Okay, good for you. I don't particularly understand the flex. I never particularly liked Ben Affleck. I'm gonna say that. Don't care if anyone disagrees. But good for she. So Taylor tells her parents, so yeah, Dakota, by the way, with me being pregnant and everything, he's gonna be moving in. And her mom, being her mom, is against this. She literally says to her daughter, I'm just gonna keep saying this, saying to her daughter, I would rather you raise this baby by yourself, struggle as a single mom with 3 kids, than have him move in. And I said, her daughter, I mean, like, I don't particularly get, like, how you could be okay with your daughter having to do this by herself. She literally says to her child, but that is the choice you've made. So she says, you are the one that got divorced. You brought Dakota in. You don't even know if he's going to stay sober. Let's keep targeting her sobriety here. She basically says, I don't want a revolving door of men. This is again Leanne saying this to Taylor. But then here comes Dakota to start unpacking everything. Dana goes out to help him and says, oh yeah, so my parents are here. They just found out. He's like, just now. You're telling them right now. Okay. Her dad, who seems not as bad as Leanne, but he says, so you knock up my daughter and then you move in. And I'm like, yep, yep. So Macy tells us a time where Taylor's ex showed up at an event where both Taylor and Dakota were at, and Dakota apparently freaked out and called her a slut in front of everyone. And I'm like, and this is why Macy, one reason why Macy doesn't like Dakota. And I said, definitely understand that. So Whitney now tells her mom and sister about the brand deal. And they're like, nope. They're like that meme with that guy going, shaking their head back and forth, saying that's no good. It's not empowering to women, which I totally disagree. I think the fact that women can take back their sexuality and be in control of our sexuality is the epitome of empowerment, personally. But, and then I think her sister was kind of like, isn't it kind of against your platform, mom, wife? I guess wives don't orgasm, but anyway, Whitney explains that her wedding night was not a romantic anything. It was a comedy, if anything. They had no clue what they were doing because, again, no discussions about sex was ever had by mom and daughter or whatever. And I mean, Connor's not going to know anything. He's gay. I mean, inexperienced. So, sex, as she also explains, is absolutely non existent in the LDS church. Her mom, I believe, says if I could go back and do it differently, she would and actually have those conversations. So that's good. Whitney's mom is a lot better than Leanne. Yeah, well, Sis is good now because he watches porn. Straight porn. Mm-hmm. She says, you know how it's gotten better? Toys. I really don't know if she did the thing or not, but anyway. She says she's going, oh, she does say she's going to promote it. The next thing that happens is, sorry guys, I'm going to be whispering for the rest of the episode. The next thing that kind of happens here is the salt cave. Who takes children to a salt cave? Isn't that supposed to be relaxing, a little bit and stuff? And you bring your nose knotted children to a salt cave and they're just throwing salt everywhere. Anyways, so it is Taylor's baby shower. Everyone is showing up except for Whitney. Whitney's like, I'm not going. The thing is that she kept telling everyone she's not going, but doesn't actually tell Taylor that she's not going. And Leanne ends up calling Whitney to be like, girl, where you at? Why did Leanne do this? Anyways, that's the end of episode 2. Episode 3. Whitney says like, well, I just didn't think I had to really text Taylor about not being at the baby shower. I figured she just wouldn't notice me not being there. Well, she noticed, girl. Michaela thinks that she didn't go to have the attention on her. Oh, where's Whitney? Where's Whitney? Let's call Whitney, find out where Whitney is. So the thing is, maybe this is exactly why she did it. But she's like, we're not friends. But Taylor thinks you are because you haven't told her differently. Then she doesn't know the definition of friends or something like that. But anyways, Ben Affleck's husband, Zach, is going to be a surgeon, y'all, like his father and his father's father and his father's father's father. Zach looks like Gary Busey. Did anyone else notice? He kind of has a Gary Busey look. Anyway, graduation party for him and Taylor and Whitney are both going to be there. Whitney judges people for not being devout enough because people are drinking when they shouldn't be. It kind of seems that the thing that people really seem to really focus on is kind of the soda type places. It's just like instead of there being bars, it's be kind of one of those in every corner. So Taylor is leaving and Whitney hugs her, which I feel like, but wait, you said you don't like her. And Taylor says, we should talk at some point. And Whitney said she could care less, but then why did you hug her? Because that makes it look like you're being fake. Whitney says, like, I don't want to talk to her. Everyone goes into the hot tub. Obviously, Taylor doesn't. I think she had left at this point, actually. And Jesse starts drinking, which Ben Affleck is like, this is disrespectful because Zach and her are devout. They actually do follow the church. So, not great, I guess. Some of the ladies are getting Botox. And apparently, obviously, certain things you cannot partake in, but you can get laughing gas. And it's for free. And I said, I want to go. And they're kind of just loving life with the laughing gas, which I would definitely do the same. So now the new drama now is that Ben Affleck is only inviting certain people and their husbands to her child's baby blessing, which apparently is a huge deal. It's very sacred. And part of this is the fact, like, not everyone is maybe as devout as her and Zach are. And Zach is like, there's certain people I don't want there. So basically, everyone who was drinking, he doesn't want there. People who he doesn't know their husbands, he doesn't want them there. So certain people are being disinvited. After she literally said to them in the car, oh, his baby shower is this day, this time, and or baby blessing, I should say. So I think Jesse and Demi are part of the people who will be there. And they call Jen Affleck to be like, are we going or no? Well, no. So they basically, this, I didn't really talk much about it. They do it. It's fine. It's great. People that were there was Macy, didn't, no, Macy, Whitney, Michaela. I can't remember who the other person was. But anyways, so Demi is having Galentine's and she's inviting everyone. She had to point that part out. So Demi apparently had this sex story involving Fruity Pebbles, and Whitney is kind of talking about it with some of the girls that are getting ready with her. So they make this big joke about the Fruity Pebbles. Basically, from what I could see, is like Brett must have been like eating Fruity Pebbles out of her pussy. I don't even know. That's kind of what I'm gathering. So what does Whitney do? Whitney gift wraps Fruity Pebbles, and when they go to the Galentine's and Demi opens the gift, she is pissed because like this shouldn't have been even discussed. This it shouldn't have. And Whitney's pissed that Demi is pissed with her. And I'm like, oh, but wait. You did it. And you made a joke about it. Purposefully. And you're mad because she's mad? Come on. But anyways, that is episode 3. Now our final episode of this episode is episode 4. So it's Girls' Weekend. Demi and Brett are arguing because of the Fruity Pebbles incident. I guess basically he kind of wants her to be free to have these conversations, but would prefer that it wasn't said. Jen forgot her garments because we're going to be having, I think I talked about it, the Girls' Weekend. Jen forgot her garments at home. She has nothing. Anyway. Then Demi brings out a truth box. Not a great idea. She figures this is a thing that can be used to kind of break the ice, have conversations, settle things. This is also Demi's way to get at Whitney. So we start with the question to Whitney, why don't you like Taylor? Are you just jealous of her clout? So Whitney says, I'm not jealous of her clout, but maybe jealous of the forgiveness that she gets that I didn't get. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's talking about the fact that she was forgiven, Taylor was, for the swinger incident, but I wasn't forgiven about the RSV video. Now, I didn't talk about this before. This was brought up in a previous episode. This video that she's referring to, she kind of goes into the history of it. Her son was really sick. They had to take him to the hospital. It was not great. He was getting better. And I guess her way of trying to relieve stress, we get more on this later. She does a video featuring her very sick child, and it was not received well. I think you deserve the hate that you get. You're using your sick kid for clout. It's and Taylor basically says like, I got so much hate and I am still getting hate. What are you talking about? And Jesse's like, Whitney girl, you are jealous of her clout. Just say it. You basically did. Then, anyways, the question is directed at Demi about Jen being too Mormon. And that swiftly throws Whitney under the bus because Whitney is the person who told Jen that Demi said she's too Mormon. What does that even mean? She just follows the rules, so you're too Mormon? It's kind of maybe an unnecessary thing to say. Jen then says, well, Demi, didn't you call Taylor white trash? So Demi's just throwing punches. And Taylor asks, well, what makes me trashy? And Demi is like, well, you're swinging, you're hitting on Brett, who's her husband. And she's always so it's trashy to do that. So isn't it trashy to drop your dress in front of my boyfriend to get mic'd? And of course, Demi denies. Taylor doesn't. I think we do see a clip of it. But I mean, anyway, Demi throws back at Taylor. Well, I'm not the swinger in the group. Demi, why? I seriously cannot say Demi. This is so stupid. Anyway, then the next day, Taylor and Whitney sit and talk. And Whitney says, like, she just didn't feel close to Taylor, even though she tried to build a relationship with her. She kind of feels like I gave up, so I didn't bother. And maybe that's partially true, but I do think it's jealousy. And that's why Whitney can't be friends with Taylor. And that's why she can't tell Taylor anything either. Stupid. While they are talking, though, Demi kind of comes up and inserts herself into the conversation. And prior to that, though, she's with the group. She says, oh, Whitney said she did that RSV video to get likes and clout. Like, she actually apparently told us to her that is the reason she did it. And if that is truly the reason, you're using your sick kid. It's gross. It's gross. Don't do that. But then Demi goes upstairs to Whitney and Taylor, and then a fight starts between Demi and Whitney. And Whitney kind of just doubles down and says, I have no regrets. I don't care. I don't want to be anybody's friend. And walks away. And Demi's like, fuck that. And she goes after her. Which, okay. Demi is kind of being a little mean here, kind of being like, oh, she just walks away, she runs away. She doesn't confront things, and blah, blah, blah. But if Whitney needed the space away from this or whatever, then give her that. Even if you think it's not genuine, just give it to her. I think Macy calls Demi a bitch at one point, and anyone's like, anyone else got anything to say? Anything else? Anything else before we? And I think it was Layla that's like, don't we have to do dinner at 6? So we have that dinner, and Whitney basically excuses herself to the bathroom to cry, and she comes back in with the cake and toilet paper on the bottom of her shoe. Can't no one help her and say, oh, sweetheart, there's tissue under your shoe. But she comes back in with this, and I think this was for Macy, or was it for Demi? No, it was for Macy. Macy's birthday. So, yeah. These episodes are messy. It's only gotten messier. But I've really enjoyed watching this show so far. But that is it for episode 1, my episode 1, covering episodes 1 to 4 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The next episode, the final episode for Secret Wives, is going to be covering the remainder 4 episodes, 5 to 8. So you can look forward to that. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.